It's October 11th, 2018, and we're on location once again in the vicinity of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Like our previous visit to the area in September, our mission was the same: to find and capture the increasingly rare Norfolk Southern High Hood GP38-2s in freight service. We arrived shortly after 8 a.m., and East Wayne Yard in New Haven was busy as usual. The crew of Manifest Train 34N, which runs between Decatur, Illinois and Conway, Pennsylvania, were preparing to work the yard to pick up more outbound cars before continuing east. Leading the train today was NS SD40E number 6342, a standard cab EMD that usually can be found in local or helper service. .34N would utilize the interlocking at NE to access East Wayne Yard, turning on the former nickel plate main line before shoving back into the yard over the diamond. After watching the crew of 34N make their move at NE, we drove to the west end of the yard by the snake track as Norfolk Southern SD40-2 number 6159 prepared to depart Fort Wayne with local train L41 in tow. Built in May of 1978, this recently repainted SD40-2 is equipped with a delightful Leslie RS5T air horn. As of 2018, the 6159 can frequently be found working the locals out of East Wayne Yard over the Nickel Plate and Wabash main lines. As train L41 slowly made its way over the grade crossing at Old Maumee Road, Norfolk Southern Intermodal Train 233 was making its way west over the Nickel Plate main line. 233 is a daily Norfolk, Virginia to Chicago, Illinois intermodal train that terminates at Landers Yard. At South Anthony Boulevard, we watched as L41 began to accelerate over the Wabash Main Line, where it would eventually take the Chicago, Fort Wayne, and Eastern Railroad connection to the Hadley Cutoff west of Fort Wayne, before taking the nickel plate west to Valparaiso. Once the L41 was on its way west, we decided to venture back to East Wayne Yard, where the crew of LF10 were preparing to depart with NS GP60 number 7130. At one time, the 7130 could be seen leading scheduled Triple Crown trailer trains over the NS system in the 1990s. But over time, the GP60 class have slowly been transitioned into local and yard service. We watched as High Hood GP38-2 number 5244 pulled a long cut of cars out of the yard. The veteran, former Southern Railway locomotive would be the sole unit in charge of train L48, a Fort Wayne to Columbia City, Indiana turn job that operates over the former Pennsy, now CF&E main line. L48 works the Steel Dynamics Structural and Rail Division facility in Columbia City. SDI provides world-class quality USA steel throughout North America, and Norfolk Southern is the railroad that moves it. We would again set up at South Anthony Boulevard in Fort Wayne to watch as the 5244 accelerated over the main line with its sizable train towards Columbia City. Note the locomotive is running backwards, since the Southern Railway ordered many of their locomotives to run long hood forward. We returned to East Wayne Yard again after our encounter with the 5244 and were thrilled to see Norfolk Southern SD40-2 number 1634 working the west end of the yard in remote control operation. The 1634 is one of only 10 remaining High Hood SD40-2 locomotives on the entire Norfolk Southern roster. Purchased as one order by Norfolk and Western in September of 1973, the 1625 through 1635 series are some of the most unique SD40-2s in regular freight service in 2018. However, none of the Southern Railway SD40-2s were spared from the Admiral Cab Replacement Program, making these former Norfolk and Western units the last 6-axle high-hood locomotives on a Class I railroad anywhere. There's really no telling how long these locomotives have left before being rebuilt by Altoona Works, but for now, they soldier on with their original cab design, RS5T horns, short hood mounted bells, and dual control stands. watching the 1634 work the west end of the yard, we witnessed a pair of armor yellow Union Pacific Power leading train 280 east through the yard. The 280 is a daily Chicago-Calumet yard to Bellevue, Ohio AUTORACK train that often utilizes foreign power to take the train over Norfolk Southern territory. Upon filming Train 280, we overheard that Train LF-14 was about to depart East Wayne Yard to work the former Grand Rapids and Indiana Railroad branch line west of town. Last month, in September of 2018, we captured LF-14 operating with a GP-59E and road slug for power. On this adventure, we were pleased to see High Hood GP-38-2's number 5238 and 5196 being used to power the local yard job over the road. The local will work Cargill salt, foundation building materials, Boozy Unichem cement, and Stonehard before returning to the yard in New Haven. Later in the afternoon, we returned once again to East Wayne Yard to capture the 1634 building trains and sorting out the yard under remote control operation. We spent a significant amount of our afternoon watching the yard crew working the west end with the 1634, capturing as much footage as we could of this unique 6-axle SD40-2 in action. These are some of the switching highlights from the afternoon. As the sun began to set in the horizon, we watched as Manifest Train 326 was preparing to depart East Wayne for Bellevue, Ohio. The lone Union Pacific SD70 ACE would be handling the train over the former Nickel Plate Main Line, arriving in Bellevue in the early morning hours of the following day. The 326 would be our final train of the day from October's adventure in Fort Wayne. After overnighting in Michigan, we decided to spend the following afternoon on the Chicago line in Delta, Ohio. Around 1:45 p.m., we caught local train B41 running west with Norfolk Southern Admiral Cab SD40-2, number 3219, as the sole unit in charge of today's train. This local is a Monday through Friday Toledo Airline Yard to Delta, Ohio turn job. About 30 minutes later, we overheard trains 16E and 35N calling signals closely over the radio, and we anticipated a perfect meet at the old LS and MS depot in Delta. just as we had hoped. 35N was slightly behind the 16E, and we just so happened to be on the right side of the track. 35N's colorful consist included NS SD60M number 6802, ES40DC number 7636, CEFX 6027, an ex-Burlington Northern Triclops SD60M, Union Pacific SD70 ACE number 8489, and a freshly painted CF&E GP38-2, number 2135, seen in Genesee and Wyoming's beautiful corporate orange and yellow paint scheme. Train 16E is a Chicago BRC to Bellevue, Ohio manifest train that operates daily over the Chicago line, while the 35N is a daily Conway, Pennsylvania to Decatur, Illinois manifest. Shortly after observing the perfect meet between the two manifest freight trains, we captured train I6N with more UP power in charge. I6N is the second half of train 26N, a daily Chicago to Columbus, Ohio intermodal train that originates from the BNSF Railway. It was interesting to see UP Power in charge of this train, but it was even more interesting to see the lone Cryotrans reefer tucked in the consist directly behind the power. After watching intermodal train I6N go out of view, we captured the Wayne, Michigan to Elkhart, Indiana daily freight train 39E with a Canadian National GEVO in the lead. Once the 39E ducked under the Indiana and Ohio Railroad Bridge west of town, train M6E was making its way east with an assorted mix of Union Pacific GEs in tow. M6E is the second half of train 16E and runs as an extra to Bellevue, Ohio. About 20 minutes later, train 205 hit the detector east of Delta. The 205 is one of the higher priority intermodal trains on the Chicago line, originating in Buffalo, New York, and terminating daily in Chicago at 47th Street Yard. The 205 would be the last train we captured on October 12th, rounding off 2 great consecutive days of Midwest Railroad action. Thanks for watching Delay in Block Productions. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to hit that bell to join the notification squad. Until next time, happy railroading from all of us at Delay in Block Productions.